What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Rexx Ruger. That, of course, is the Alexis Arguello puppet. We are back with another amazing episode of Off the Couch Boxing with the most amazing and real boxing conversations anywhere on planet Earth. You know the motto: legends, luminaries, world champions, and fighters on the come up. All coming here to chop it up with your boy, Reckless Rexx. And tonight we got another great one. Greatness in the building, man. Three-time former WBA Middleweight Champion, and he will be in here in a moment, man. Just had some technical difficulties, so we fired it back up again. And, of course, you know I won't edit this out because all the hiccups stay in. That's my motto here. Leave it all in, raw, real, unfiltered. You know, shit happens. Shit happens and you leave it in. Why? For posterity's sake, man. You got to be an advocate for posterity, folks. Life is happening and we're documenting it. When we're dead and gone, this will be here, man. And I'll know, man, that I put out the real deal. But that being said, man, before my guest gets in here, let me do my promotional spiel, if you will. Make sure to like and follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook. That's first. And, of course, if you're watching this episode right now, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay tapped in. My guest is here. Let's get down to it, man, and chop it up. Here we go. At least I hope so this time. And there he is, Mr. Joppy. How are you? You got to turn on your microphone at the bottom. Or do I got to turn your microphone on? Do I got you? Hold on a second. There you go. I can hear you now.
How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you? Great to have you on here again, man. I appreciate you doing this. Thank you. How is everything?
Everything's great, man. Just, taking it one day at a time, just working and, maintaining. That's all.
Now, we're not staging any comebacks, are we?
Nah. I'm saying, I'm getting back in the gym, just trying to stay in shape. One thing about most boxers, we got to make it a lifestyle. Training, running, we got to make it a lifestyle. Sure. Yeah.
Well, you can't put anything past anybody nowadays because you do see people, man, coming back, man, at ridiculously older ages.
Yeah, they are coming back, man. Just like that Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, man, that really surprised me, that fight there.
Well, what surprised me even more, and I'm glad you brought up Mike Tyson, man, was really hurt me, man, in the heart, man. Really destroyed a lot of my childhood, seeing poor Mike get beat by Jake Paul. I don't know if I'm over it yet, champ.
Oh yeah, that was like, I mean, that was a 60-year-old Mike.
I know.
Mike's almost 60. I will be. Mike is 4 years older than me. I will be 55 in September. And Mike he will be 59 or he's already 59.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you, man, like, because those events came up, man, I might have asked you this the first time I had you on, man, but are you a fan of those? Because I know they're a polarizing topic, man. Some people say, old school boxers say, I don't like the Jake Paul events. I don't respect them. I don't watch them. But then there is a certain demographic of people that say, hey, they're great. They bring eyes to the sport. Where do you stand on those?
I'll be honest with you. I really don't like. I think Mike Tyson is a legend in the sport. All these guys, Roy Jones, these guys, they're legends in the sport. And I think they should leave it at that. Letting these guys like Jake Paul and his brother come up and get a name off of what they've been through. You know how much it took for them to get where they are, Mike Tyson. And for these guys to come out of nowhere, didn't go through the amateur ranks like like we did.
Right.
And just come out of it's just new. Social media. You can get famous overnight on the strength of social media.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And that's the case with the Jake Pauls and all those guys. They didn't come up the hard way like we did. And so no, I don't really respect it. I don't respect it. I mean, listen, I don't knock his hustle. Hey, if you can get it that way, get it. And people follow him. He got fans. Yeah. So hey, I don't knock it, but no, I'm not with it. I'm not with him trying to get the name off of Mike Tyson after all that he's been through in the boxing game, in the boxing world. He came the hard route,
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Tyson's past. We all know it too.
Oh yeah, of course. And I think the thing that really sticks in the craw of a lot of guys, as you're saying, guys who've been doing it since they were kids, grinding, hustling, going through the amateurs, climbing the ranks, man. I think they look at him and they probably think, right, he didn't pay his dues, and he seems like he's leapfrogging a lot of guys.
Absolutely, that's how I look at it. Here's a guy that just comes out of nowhere, just like I said back when we was coming up in the 80s or early 90s, it wasn't no social media, it wasn't all this. Right. But these young guys, you can get famous overnight, no doubt. That's exactly the case with the Pauls. His brother fought Floyd, right?
Floyd,
Floyd Mayweather, yeah. So these guys getting the name just like that.
And of course, the paydays too. That's got to bother fighters too, because a lot of times, man, like fighters don't. I mean, Jake Paul's getting the type of paydays that a lot of fighters don't ever get to touch.
I mean, Jake Paul made more money than a lot of fighters made their whole career.
I know. It's pretty crazy.
And didn't even do the road work. I mean, not saying that he don't do road work, but didn't do the road work these fighters have done in the past. And the hard work we did in the gym. So. No, I mean, like I said, I don't know if he can get it that way, more power to him.
Now, do you feel like I've got your resume, or at least part of your resume? Certainly the notable fights that stand out, and you are the 3-time WBA Middleweight Champion. Are there any names that are not on your resume that maybe there were fights that you wanted to have that either your team or your promoters couldn't get done that you wanted to see happen that just maybe fell through the cracks?
The fight for myself, I think that Keith Holmes, he was a world champion. We both were world champions at the same time, and that's a fight that definitely the DC area wanted to see.
Yeah,
I think that fight would have been big if we had if they had Don King had to pull it off, because we both were promoted by Don King.
Right.
So if Don King had to pull that off, that would have been a great fight for DC. Just like when Simon Brown and Maurice Blocker fought in DC.
Yeah.
It would have been the same type of, situation, but it never happened. So I think that would have been a good one if Keith Holmes and I would have got together and fought in DC.
Now, let me ask you your opinion now. Ridiculously amazing record, 40 wins, 30 of them by knockout. You do have 2 draws, though, on your resume. And I want to get your opinion, man, because I've asked other guys this, man. How do you as a pro fighter view a draw? Does a draw feel like a loss to you? How does a draw leave you feeling when you walk out of the ring and you've tied in a fight with another man?
Nah, I don't feel like a loss. It just it's it's better than a loss. Let's say
right. Yeah.
It's better than a loss, but it's just like it's a feeling that you feel. Most people that got a draw felt that they won.
Right.
And I think I edged it, but it was so close.
Right.
The people looked at it as a draw, but
right.
No, I'm not really. I'm upset and I'm happy at the same time. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm not. I didn't get the loss. That's good, but at the same time, I didn't get the win. So it's a sad. It hurts. Then again, it's not as painful as it may seem. It may seem.
And now, do you immediately leave the ring, man, and want to get that back? Do you look at that guy that you've had a draw against and think, I've got to, is it something that you obsess about in your head and think, I've got to run it back with this guy because I have to have some closure? I mean, I don't have your whole resume in front of you, but the 2 guys that you had draws against, did you end up having rematches with them?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, the second guy. And Corey Cummings, is that it?
Corey Cummings, right. And you ended your career with a win against him.
Yeah, I beat him. I beat him the next time. Yes. But my first draw was I fought Corey Cummings at the end of my career.
Right.
But actually he was my last fight.
Yep.
The first draw was in '95 against a guy named Rodney Tony. We fought at I believe it was the Mirage. We fought in Vegas on the Julio Cesar Chavez. Julio Cesar Chavez fought David Kamau in '95.
Okay.
I fought on the undercard of that. We fought a 12-round fight for the NABF. That was a draw.
And did you run it back with him?
No, I never ran it back.
Didn't run it back with him.
Actually, I've never seen or heard from him again. Ronnie,
hey man, maybe the draw really messed him up.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard from him again.
Wow, that's good. That's and so when you look at your resume, and I've got some of the names here, man. I'm curious if there's somebody that stands out, because I ask this question a lot. And sometimes it's not the most obvious person that you would think it would be. You've got a lot of names that really stick out here, man. Guys that fought champions at an elite level. But who gave William Joppy his toughest fight?
Well, I can't say. I mean, we had a lot of tough fights. Styles make fights.
Right, sure.
My styles make fights. I had a lot of tough fights. I mean, but my career defining moment was when I fought Trinidad, which he cheated.
Yeah.
And, he didn't cheat, man. And the thing is, and I think Don King was behind it. You got to remember this. When I fought Felix Trinidad in 2001, it was the middleweight tournament.
I remember it well. Yep.
Yes. Bernard Hopkins, Keith Holmes, William Joppy, Felix Trinidad. And the first round was Keith Holmes and Bernard Hopkins. When they fought in the small arena in the Garden.
Yep.
They didn't have the name, when Trinidad and I fought, we fought in the big ring. Trinidad
you were the bigger names, definitely.
The big ring, you had the name. You know what I mean? They wanted to make sure that Trinidad got into that championship. They let him load his gloves. Like I said, when I fought Trinidad, that wasn't me, because when he hit me with those loaded gloves, man, I don't even know where the hell I was at. I still to this day don't see how I made it to the 5th round of that fight. He's a cheat. And I believe Don King was behind it because he wanted to make sure Trinidad got into that the championship rounds. That would have been more beneficial to him.
And of course, as we know, then it went on to be Bernard Hopkins against Felix Trinidad ultimately.
Yeah. They definitely wanted Trinidad in the championship rounds. So we got, I was a threat to him.
And did you ever pursue, for fans that might not know the backstory, man, what was your course of action upon your belief that that he was cheating? Did you ever get any resolution? Did you ever pursue any action, or is it just one of those things where you're just never going to get absolution? You're never going to get answers.
Absolutely, yeah. I never pursued anything after that. Of course, he's going to deny it. His dad's going to deny, all that. So yeah. I just kept it moving, and things pretty much went downhill from that point on.
And tell me, as a fighter, man, like when you say, because obviously, I do this boxing podcast. I've done well over 200 episodes. I'm passionate about the sport. I think I have quite an extensive knowledge of the sport. But there might be people that are watching this that do not have it, man. When you say loaded gloves, as a fighter, man, what is it that you're feeling that tells you, or that you're able to know? Are the punches heavier, thicker, harder, having a certain effect on you?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I didn't know where the hell I was at. I mean, it had a hell of an effect on me. I was out. I mean, I was fighting out of my mind, but I was on my feet. I didn't know where the hell I was at. And then Bernard Hopkins fought him 3 or 4 months later, and they tried to do the same thing with him, but his corner caught it. His corner caught that. So I think that maybe Don King might have paid somebody off, and like my guy to go over there and check his hand wraps.
Right.
Don King or somebody paid him off to overlook it. I mean, but
and you feel like going forward that moment right there, like that Trinidad fight and the loaded gloves, do you feel like going forward, man, that had an impact on what you would do the rest of your career?
Yeah, for real. Most definitely it did. You know what I mean? I wasn't the same fighter from that point on. I'm going to tell you something. 2 things I did in my boxing career that I totally regret. 2 things. Because one is I changed my managers. J.D. Brown and Ollie Dunlap. Those were my first managers. I should have stayed with them, man. Because I believe if they were with me, they would have been on top of that situation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I let people get in my head, and I moved to another management, which I never should have did. That's one of the first things I did I shouldn't have done in my boxing career. Number 2, my second thing, the worst thing I did in my boxing career, was move a female into my house. That's the worst thing I did. Move the female into my house. That's the worst thing I did.
Well, you're brave for saying that, man.
Yeah. To all these young fighters coming up, stay focused.
Stay focused. Yeah. It's just like Mickey told Rocky, man. Women weaken legs.
Yeah, they do, man. And she was a total distraction.
Total distraction. Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Total distraction, man.
And you know, I'm glad that you got the opportunity to end your career, as you said, man, with a victory against Corey Cummings, man. Are you the type of fighter, you know, because we do see guys walk away from their career, and I always wonder, like, what goes on in a fighter's mind. You know, how would you have been if your last pro fight was a loss? Would you be able to walk away on a loss, or do you think you would have been the type that would have had to go out on top, or at least out on a W?
Yes.
You have to, right?
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Yeah, you have to.
Before I close the door, I must get that victory.
Well, because that's a question I've asked a couple of fighters, because obviously, like, now we're starting to see some videos surface of Tyson Fury back hitting the bag or whatever. There's rumors of a comeback. He obviously did lose twice in a row to Usyk, and he seems like such a proud guy that I just had a hard time thinking that we've seen the last of Tyson Fury, that he's going to go out on 2 consecutive losses. And I always wondered what a fighter's mentality is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, obviously you don't want to stop and have everybody remember that last fight as you took an L.
You know, that's the thing. People remember the people remember you from your last fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, that's one thing about the boxing game. When you're on top, when you're on top and you're looking good, you're the greatest.
Yeah.
But if you're doing just the opposite, you're looking bad. They're talking bad about you.
Yeah. Now your record, man, as I said, 40 wins, 7 losses, 30 knockouts, man. I'm wondering, and I've been very candid and open about where I stand on people that I think should be in the I know each state has their own boxing Hall of Fames, but the big one, the one in Canastota, the International Boxing Hall of Fame, do you in your heart of hearts believe you should be there?
Yeah, they cheated me out of it. My Hall of Fame fight was the Trinidad fight. Yeah, that was my Hall of Fame fight.
But I still feel like, based on your accolades, your resume, your stature as a 3-time champion, man, I would find it hard to say that there's reason to keep you out of there.
Well, yeah, man, it's not my decision, but I know it's not my decision. I think I should be there, but they cheated me out of there from the get-go. Like I said before, they wanted Trinidad to get into that championship round of that tournament, you know, because he was the big name. Right. Like I said, Keith Holmes and Bernard Hopkins fought in a small arena in the Garden, and you know, Don King would come out on top as long as Trinidad was in the championship round of that tournament. Yeah. And of course, we all know, obviously, man, that I don't think anybody that watches this podcast or watches boxing or knows anything about boxing, certainly there's a dirty side, there's a political side to boxing. You know what I mean? Like I think even people that love the sport will certainly recognize that that does exist. Right. Oh yeah, it does. It does, most definitely, man. You gotta have some. You gotta have some good people in your corner. Yeah. You gotta keep your antennas up at all times. Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that you are like man enough to sit here and say, you know what I mean, I screwed up. I should have kept the managers that I had. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a big person to admit that they made errors in their career. I think a lot of guys are probably too proud to do that. You know? Yeah, I was young. I let people get in my head. Yeah, let people get in my head, and it sounded good at the time. Right. I should have kept my managers that I had at first, J.D. Brown and Ollie Dunlap. They guided my career. They guided my career so good. And like I said, when our time was up, I let people get in my head, and I moved on, which I never should have did. I never should have did it. And now that you are enjoying your life after boxing, are you somebody that keeps? Do you still keep tabs on the sport? Are you an avid fan still? Yeah, somewhat, somehow. I'm always, we're fighters. We're always gonna keep an eye on the sport. But I'm not in it as much as I was before. But, I'm watching the Terrence Crawfords. I was going to ask you, man. I was going to ask you, who are some guys that you enjoy watching that are doing it right now? Yeah, I love Terrence Crawford, man. He's a great fighter. Terrence Crawford. I want to see that rematch with Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis. I'm waiting for that one to come up. And who's the guys?
I'm glad you brought that fight up, though, man. How did you see that first fight going between Tank and Lamont? Very close.
It was a close fight. I'm happy with the draw.
You're happy with the draw, but obviously the big news was where do you stand as an ex-fighter yourself? Where do you stand on the big controversial round 9 taking the knee?
Oh yeah. That was a no on Gervonta's part, and that those were points. So maybe if they had counted that, Lamont Roach would have got the win. In
your opinion, should have been a knockdown?
Yeah, of course. You know the rules.
Yeah.
You know the rules. You can't do that. They didn't call the knockdown.
Yeah.
You take a knee. If you and I were fighting, if I took a knee out of the clear blue sky, that's a point.
Yeah.
They didn't count it. So maybe that was Lamont Roach's win. Them two got a history.
They do.
I think they fought 2 or 3 times in amateur. So those guys have a history. They know each other.
And now I'm glad you brought up Bud Crawford. Obviously, I don't think anything is completely set in stone yet. But the word around the campfire is we are headed towards probably seeing him fight Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, people will say weight classes exist for a reason or whatever. But what chance do you give of Bud moving all the way up to 168 to a weight class where Canelo has lived and campaigned for a while now? You know what I mean? Where do you rate his chances of being able to pull that off?
I love Terrence Crawford, my man. I love watching him.
I do too.
But I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like it.
But you don't like it.
I don't like it. I think he definitely had the skills. But I just think Crawford is. Canelo's too big. That's a big guy, man.
Yeah.
I just think, man. I don't, man. I'll be honest. I'm being honest, but no, I don't like it. I don't like it.
He might be biting off more than he can chew.
Yeah, Canelo's a big guy, but not only is he a big guy, Canelo can fight.
Yeah,
he's just not a brawler. He's technical. He got good skills. He's a good fighter, and he's so much bigger than Terrence Crawford.
Yeah,
we all know that Terrence Crawford got good skills. He can box. Real slick. But I just think the weight difference is going to be, just so much different.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but for the most part in your career, you campaigned at middleweight, right?
Right.
Always at middleweight. Now, there have been, over the course of time, some great historic middleweights. I've got some of them here, man, and I just kind of want to do like a little, once in a while I come up with these little games on here to play with people, man. So I kind of want to do this little comparison with you. I'm going to throw you some matchups, man, and we'll narrow this down and see if we can come up with the greatest middleweight of all time, okay?
Okay.
Triple G versus Marvin Hagler. Who wins that fight?
Marvin Hagler.
Okay. Jake LaMotta and Bernard Hopkins.
God damn. I'm gonna go with Hopkins.
Okay, B-Hop. Okay. Carlos Monzon and Canelo.
Monzon.
Wow. All right. One for the old guys. All right. Now here's a good one. Sugar Ray Robinson, who spent a lot of his career at middleweight, against Roy.
Oh man, Ray Robinson, man.
James Toney, Tommy Hearns.
James Toney.
Yeah, that's my guy right there.
Yeah,
Julian Jackson. Now, I know where you're going to go with this one. I got 2 more here. Julian Jackson, Felix Trinidad.
Julian Jackson.
The Hawk. Jamal Charlo, Nigel Benn.
Nigel Benn.
Okay, so, all right, so by process of elimination, we are left now with Hagler versus Hopkins.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Damn. A draw.
A draw, okay. Monzon, Sugar Ray Robinson.
Sugar Ray Robinson.
James Toney, Julian Jackson.
James Toney. Most definitely James Toney.
Okay. And so now I will say that we are left. Okay. And then so out of the top 3 that we've got right now, Sugar Ray Robinson, Marvin Hagler, James Toney, man. Where would you rank those three as the greatest middleweights of all time? Is there somebody in your mind that sticks out as the greatest middleweight of all time? I mean, we've just narrowed it down to those three: James Toney, Sugar Ray Robinson, Marvin Hagler.
I'm gonna go. I love them all, all three of them equally. But I'm gonna go with Marvin Hagler. You know why? Because he campaigned at middleweight his whole career.
Yeah, and had all those title defenses, man, for years.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Marvin Hagler because that's why he stayed at one. You never seen Marvin Hagler fight at 168 or any other way. He stayed at 160 his whole career.
And I will say, and I have to confess that I did fuck that game up because I should have had another bracket. So I just said, you know what, the hell with it. Those three, man. We'll just rank those three. I completely ixnayed Julian Jackson and Nigel Benn, but we weren't going to put them in the top three anyway, though, were we? We couldn't put those guys ahead of Hagler, Toney, and Sugar Ray Robinson. No disrespect. I mean, no disrespect to those guys, but I just had James Toney on like 2 weeks ago, man. He's so awesome, though, man.
I love watching James. Man, he's so slick.
One of the best. Yeah, one of the absolute best.
You know, I tell the young fighters, I tell them the fight to watch when they just want to learn boxing, the skill, the slickness, is to watch James Toney and Mike McCallum.
Yes. Yeah.
Mike McCallum was slick too.
Yeah.
And just watch those two. Watch those. They fought twice.
Yeah.
Man, watch those fights, man. You'll learn a lot from it.
And I think the thing that's so impressive about James Toney, though, man, is that he didn't really, he didn't go all the way up to heavyweight and get a heavyweight belt. He did, but they stripped him of it, man. But from 160 to heavyweight, though, man, what he did was pretty incredible. He just kept marching up those weight classes and still kicking ass.
He was, man. You can't, man. He's slick guy, man. Slick as grease.
And now, because you were a middleweight, man, and we are talking about Marvin Hagler, man, where did you stand? Because I do this podcast, I belong to a lot of the boxing groups on Facebook. I try to keep tabs on what's going on, people's opinions on the sport. I try to take it all in and use it for what I do here. One fight that particularly still sticks with people and resonates with people after all these years is Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler. You remember that fight from 1987. Who did you think won that fight?
I think Ray won it.
I had Ray winning it too.
Ray won that fight. I mean, I'm just being honest. I love Hagler, and you just call a spade for spade. I watched that fight. Ray won that fight. Yeah, he definitely won that fight. Ray won that fight. A lot of people think Hagler won, but I think this is what I believe. The people that think Hagler won the fight was the guys that like Hagler brought the fight to Ray. He kept coming, pushing Ray.
No doubt.
Ray stepped off, was moving around the ring, boxing, hit him with 2-3 shots per move. People that like to see brawlers fight, like to see the Joe Frazier type style fights, they thought Hagler won.
Right.
They thought Hagler won. But people that want to see the art of boxing, we know Ray won that fight. He did. He won that fight. You know it.
I do.
What do you think?
I scored at 115, 113 for Ray. I've watched it numerous times just to make sure that I got it right because I've posed that question to other guests on here, man, and I get about a 50-50 thing. I got people on here that'll advocate for Hagler, and they'll say, no, go back and watch it, man. You know what I mean? But every time I do, I get the same result. So I think and again, I no disrespect to Hagler. I love the guy, man. I mean, so dominant, man. Just so awesome, man. But I think what Ray did, man, was really, as you said, the art of boxing, man. He pulled off some incredible stuff. Regardless of how effective it was on Hagler, he'd hit him with those shoe shines. He'd steal the last 10 seconds of every round. You know what I mean? He left the judges in a difficult spot. They were remembering a lot of the flash that Ray did, and he stole a lot of rounds.
He stole it. That's exactly what he did.
Exactly
what he did. Yeah.
I mean, he's a master of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he's putting on a lot of flash. He's putting on stuff that's making the crowd ooh and ah, and the judges are hearing that. And, of course, it's going to influence them a little bit, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I
mean, Ray's a master at that. I think even he would probably admit that, you know?
Oh, yeah. He won that fight. He definitely won that fight.
And now, how early on in life, for people that don't know, how early on in life did you get a pair of boxing gloves on? Are you a late starter, or did you get started early?
I started late. I started when I was 20. My first amateur fight was March 16th, 1991.
And now, do you feel like that's a benefit? Because I've had other guys on here, and there are guys who come on who obviously start and get gloves on 6, 7, 8 years old. But I have had a lot of guys on here that started later. They're late teens, they're early 20s. Do you feel like that's an advantage? Because obviously, man, you know, a lot of guys, man, by the time they get to 20, 25 years old, man, they've already been through a lot of wars, man, and they've already got a lot of wear and tear.
Right. I mean, I think it was good for me.
Yeah.
I think ladder started when I was, 8, 9, 10 years old. I would have got bored. And I probably wouldn't have been as dedicated as I was, when I started.
You would have burnt out, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have been burnt out, but maybe. So I think it was the right time for me. For me, I'm just talking about for me. So I don't know.
And so was there a particular point, or was there anything like when you used to have like your fight camps? What was the worst part of going into camp for you? Obviously, it's no fun to try to cut weight and make weight or whatever. That might be the answer, Ben. But were there other parts of being in camp and leading up to a fight that you didn't like?
No, I mean, just leaving home. That's it.
Yeah.
Leaving home, and then but once you get adjusted, everything was, was downhill from that point on. But just leaving home, knowing you got to get away, and you got 5, 6, 7 weeks of complete discipline to to live by, and like I said, you get adjusted. You get adjusted after a week or so, and then everything's smooth sailing from that point on.
And now you do see a lot of fighters obviously campaign in other weight classes. Did that ever enter into the equation for you, or did you feel like I'm going to stay at middleweight? This is where I'm at my best.
Oh yeah, middleweight was my natural weight. That was my natural weight class. Yeah, most definitely, that was my natural weight class. Even though I fought some guys at higher weight classes toward the end of my career, but when I was champion, middleweight was mostly that was comfortable for me. And
were you somebody that walked around pretty close to your fighting weight a lot?
Yeah, I walked around in 170s in the South. I fought 160. Believe me, I got into the 180s a few times.
Yeah. Hey man, we all like to eat, right? And so catch people up to speed a little bit on what life after boxing has been like. Like, what's William Joppy doing these days?
Well, right now, I started a nonprofit.
Okay.
I got a nonprofit.
Please do, yeah.
Yeah. I got the name of my nonprofit is Breakfast with Boxers. I go to homeless shelters. I feed the homeless. I bring friends along with me. We drop. We don't just go to the homeless shelters and drop the food off. We break bread with them. We play cards, awesome. Play dominoes, play chess, whatever. And I speak to them about my ups and downs in life, how to get up and keep it moving. And also I put on 5K, 10K races. So the name of my nonprofit is Breakfast with Boxers. www.breakfastwithboxers.com. And you can look it up. Donate. We need money to move around in the community and make things happen. So that's what I'm putting my 100%, into right now these days.
And are you at liberty to say any of the other boxers who have helped you out with this?
Not yet. Okay. Right now I got my girlfriend Kiki, my mom, and a couple other friends in the organization that comes along. Sometimes we don't know when to help. Sometimes people just help the last minute.
Okay. So, okay. And for people that don't know, after your in-ring career was over, have you maintained any involvement in boxing? Obviously, you see a lot of boxers when their career is over, they get into other facets of the game, broadcasting, promoting, training. Are you into any of those things, or like when you've done?
Yes, I'm still. I still train clients, but not. I don't just train clients to box.
Okay.
I got people I train just to stay in shape, just want to stay fit. And maintain a good healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, that's important. That's really important right there, man.
Absolutely.
And so do you feel like when you see some of your peers and you see some of these guys coming back or expressing interest in coming back at older ages, kind of dangerous though, right?
These young guys, you gotta remember,
it is a young man's sport.
Yeah, it sure is.
It is.
Father time. We get older, we get a little slower. But sometimes you feel. I mean, you feel from within. You feel like you still have it.
Right.
You still got it. So a lot of ex-fighters feel that way.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I know. And I don't know. Talk a little bit about what that feeling is like. Like, is that something that that ever entered the equation for you? Like when you hung the gloves up after the Corey Cummings fight, was there ever any inkling for you to come back, or did you know in your heart of hearts, I'm done?
Yeah, I know I was done. Man. I didn't have the desire. I didn't have the desire to keep going. So once that desire is gone. But the thing is, when a lot of ex-fighters go back into the gym and they, getting in, they start feeling good, start shouting.
They smell it, they're around it. Yeah.
I believe it. That's what happens. That's what happens.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, champ, man. I'm so glad I have your number. I'm so glad we're in contact, man. I'll definitely reach out to you and do this again, man. I so much appreciate the time, man. I've loved watching your career, man. I've loved watching your fights, man. You provided me with so much entertainment, man. It's really an honor and a blessing to get to talk to you, man. And I really applaud the charity, man. I'm going to promote it on my website, man. When I put your episode up, I'll attach a link to it so people can go check it out.
Check it out. Let me say it again. www.breakfastwithboxers.com. Check out the website, and we're doing big things in our community.
It's needed, champ. It's really needed out there, man. You know what I mean? And even more so important than the food, man, it's the other stuff. As you said, they're not just dropping it off and taking off, man. They're spending the time, man. They're giving them an encouraging word. You know what I mean? Like that's probably more important than the actual food part.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, that's the reaching part right there, man. That's what that's what they really need, man. So listen, man, I appreciate you. I applaud it, man. God bless you, man. That's amazing, man. I appreciate it. You coming on here, man. Thank you.
I think they have me on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And stay in touch. We'll definitely do it again, champ.
Okay, my man. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, William. There he goes, folks. The legendary William Joppy. Never even asked him why he didn't have a nickname. But you know what? He can just be William Joppy. That's fine with me, man. Especially when you can hold down the middleweight title 3 times. God's sakes, you don't need a nickname. Actually, I should research that more, man. If anybody knows if William Joppy did or didn't have a nickname, man, I don't remember ever having him. Now I'm going to have to go YouTube some of his fights and see him get announced, man. But in my research anyway, I don't have a William Joppy nickname, man. Meant to ask him about that. Forgot to put it in my bullet points. That's on me. But anyway, man, that is the great former 3-time WBA middleweight champion between the years of 96 and 2003. Held it down 3 times, man. William Joppy, 40 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws. 30 humongous wins coming by way of knockout, and the names on his resume. Let me just brag on behalf of Mr. Joppy for just a moment, man. Lucian Boutte, Jermaine Taylor, and this is win, lose, or draw. These are just notable names. B-Hop, the legendary Bernard Hopkins, Howard Eastman, Felix Trinidad, a big TKO win in 1998 over Roberto Duran, Jonathan Reed. I mean, there are an amazing star-studded resume. And again, this is another guy whose name I will throw into the ring for consideration for the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I mean, a 3-time WBA middleweight champion with those names on his resume. Come on, let's throw him in there with Paul the Punisher Williams, Vernon the Viper Forrest, and the Brownsville Yeti, Shannon the Cannon Briggs, and Zab Super Judah. I'm amassing a list here, man. I got business up there, man, at the International Boxing Hall of Fame this year, man. I'm going to put together a petition, type it up, beautifully done, man. Go in there real serious, man, and see what I can get done on behalf of these guys, man, because it's criminal, some of these guys that are kept out of there, man. And I'm not going to throw stones at guys that are in there or say, I got a list of guys that are more deserving. But listen, man, what's fair is fair, man. Accomplishments speak for themselves. Numbers speak for themselves. And we got to seek some justice, folks. I'm all about the justice, man. I'm on a crusade here, man, for not only guys that have come on my show that I deeply love and respect, but, you know, I am looking at the numbers. I am looking at the statistics, and I am comparing it somewhat to guys that are already in the Hall of Fame. And, you know, let's just make it equitable, folks. I mean, you know, there's plenty of room, man. We can make the hall bigger, man. We can make more walls. We can make more room for plaques. It's not a big deal, man. I mean, you know, I just had an interview on here with Brooklyn's own David Flat Sparks. We talked about all the legends that have come from Brownsville, Brooklyn. We touched on a couple that belong in the Hall of Fame. I wasn't sure if it was 6 or 7 times world champion, but Zab Judah belongs in the international. Shannon Briggs, 60 career victories, 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. The record for most first-round knockouts, 37, needs to be in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Paul the Punisher Williams, Vernon the Viper Forrest. These are guys that need to be in there, man, based on their accolades. But now I'm going off on a diatribe here, and I don't want to do that. Let's just celebrate that we just had a great conversation with the great, legendary William Joppy. And I thank him, man, and I salute the work that he's doing out there in the community. Breakfast with Boxers. Go check it out. When this episode is up, man, there will be a link attached on the Facebook page, and I'll put the link, attach it to the episode as well, man. That's amazing work right there, man. And again, thank you so much, William Joppy. Again, make sure to like and follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook. There you'll find updates on new episodes, when they're dropping, who will be on them, and any other big boxing news that I can throw up there, man, to keep my audience in the loop. If it's happening in the fight game, man, I will put it up there and keep you all informed. And of course, if you're here on the channel right now, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification button to stay tapped in to the home of the most amazing and real boxing conversations anywhere on planet Earth. You know, I know, the world is slowly starting to know that this is the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of boxing podcast. And I got good news for you. Your boy Rexx is going to clue you in on how you too can be a champion. And the formula, again, is very simple. Just continue to stay tapped into Off the Couch Boxing. Continue to roll with us. Continue to roll with the champs. Peace.